It's your boy Czar, all rights reserved, coming to you with another one. Let me say this off the rip. This is a message to mastermind entities and everyone else acting of their own free will within a governed situation that we're talking about. I wanted to say that more than anything now, you have suspects moving a certain way, requesting certain things. You have certain people separating themselves from the entirety of the situation. This is a call to arms if you're some type of fan to actually question and look to understand what is before you. Now, we've been through many different scenarios of questioning. We attempted to reach out to many different factors, and we've seen all the ones that were iffy, and we've seen all the ones that made sense. With the level of sensibility at an all-time low due to the certain scenarios that are introduced, it only makes sense to stop playing. Stop playing. That's all. This is not a joke. It wasn't a game. I have multiple fans that even I've looked into that have actually had suicidal attempts because of their thoughts and passion. The thing is, you don't need to be affluent of the situation to understand the movements and generation of the generational effects to a situation. And that's the thing. If you're consistently playing with it, like putting the link on your page, acting like you own the rights to it and different things to make a sales, that's not some type of platform of social media. You're literally taking someone's intellectual property and posing it. Same to those socialites who are having these pictures and they put them up, but they never even ask one question. They're just putting it up just to put it up. And then they're gaining traction off of it. Take a deep look at yourself. What do you as an entity bring to people's mentality? What are you going to change in a generational change that this loss of a life has incurred? What do you bring that's different to the platform than anyone else? What do you do that differs from anyone else? And I thought very intricately about this point. And my thing is, it's time to stop playing around. It's time to stop playing with it. If you don't care, don't care. If you do, do. But here's the thing. If you're not asking questions or you don't care about what actually happened to this young man, it's time for you to hang it up. It's time for you to hang it up. It's done. You're done. Your time's done. It's over. You didn't care to ask questions. You wanted to pose as if anyone who was asking questions was a problem. And I now see you as the sole entity of issues within this entire situation. You are the one posing a risk and a challenge to the growth and development of understanding around this case. You alone are the biggest problem of this generation because of how you build and you do what you're trying to do your way to inflict some type of gain to normalize yourself around those who actually care to fit in. It's time for you to keep it moving. It's time for you to keep it pushing. You can snap up a bunch of pictures and smile for the camera, but what do you actually do that's going to bring change to the situation that we're looking at? Some of you don't show yourselves when you're talking about the scenario. You hide your intentions behind the photos and just appealing to those who are actually in hurt. What is your purpose? It's time to ask yourself, what do I bring to any type of scenario? What am I doing? Am I just me taking a picture? And do I rarely take pictures of me? Do I show myself? Am I doing anything that's going to influence a generation to actually care about what happened, significantly affecting everyone around? Do you? Did you? Have you ever? That's the problem. See, the same thing with the Kanika Jenkins thing is that we have a lot of people actually doing investigations. So whether they show themselves or not, they're actually showing media and they're actually trying to figure out. A lot of you aren't. You're just showing yourself to get praises from those who are his fans instead of reaching out. Now check this channel out. Do I have a bunch of Tentacion fans? No. I have adults whose children were affected and they watch them affected. That's what this channel is made up from in general. So when I hear people saying, that was my buddy, that's my homie, that's my guy, And then they're doing the least to actually figure out, yes, time goes on, but we're still in the midst of an ongoing case with someone's life lost. We have men that are within that are being deemed suspects that are acting very different than we've seen anyone who we know as a suspect. There's only a few ways a suspect acts, and one of those ways is either no remorse or remorse. Another way is that they're willing to try and fight for their freedom, but we don't see these factors affluent in these men. They're trying to get experts and investigators and statements. They're really trying to figure out what's going on around them. Now, could it be a ploy? Absolutely. But at this point in time, knowing what they're facing, they're putting these factors above their freedom. Whether their bail's there or not, they're looking into it deeper. If everyone has so much money, if everyone's balling so hard, if everybody's such a major factor to everything going on around this situation, why aren't they showing it? Why aren't they really trying to show, look, I'm doing this to figure it out. Look, I'm doing this. And it's particular people that have only taken time to show symbolism that they really could give two F's. And that's my problem. Don't behave that way and expect no one to find it eerie or suspect if you actually aren't suspect. Why would you even do something like that? You see, because I know the motto of out of sight, out of mind, and showing things in plain sight to allude to other things and to look cool doing it. We know this. It's not cool. Who raised you? What's the purpose of it? And what if someone was doing it to you? That's the funny thing. If things like this was happening to them, everybody would be like, oh, stop. Why are you doing that? But on the other hand, they want to do what they want. Do what you want. That's what I'm saying. But don't sit here and complain when people are questioning what you're doing when it's funny style. That's the problem. Now, I'm putting this out there to my commenters. It's time to give a message to the mastermind. They are closer than ever, whether you realize it or not. And once the ball drops, that's it. You've done what you've done. And I see a chain connection that's going to link up stronger than ever. I already am well aware of the forces that are enacting to make some type of joke or make fun and jokey joke out of the situation of a person's life being lost. We see the use of different people who we've never seen speaking on anything. And I already told you, check the record. TheCzarr has spoken about many different situations that had inequities involved. The problem is you just weren't around to see it. But those who are around already know how I rock. They know I've been talking about situations that made no sense, and I've been talking about funny style investigations. Always. So here's what I'm going to say. You played the game well. It was good while it lasted. But the time is now. If you see some socialite or someone being funny, it's time for you as an individual with some type of credibility, some level of respect to stand up and call it out. That is your duty. That is your right to do as someone who would even claim they're a fan, a supporter, or someone that ever cared. It is your duty to call it out. It is your duty to check what's funny style. We're not going to sit here and focus on the four men that the system's taking care of because they're doing more than a lot of other people ever did pending the situation at hand, which is crazy. Now, there are some people who I know lawfully you are disregarded from doing something, but tell me why I'm seeing even funnier actions. Tell me why I see certain people on the outside showing up in locations with people who are funny who I've already called out. Tell me that. What's that about? People who I found out were showing up to these places during the situation, and I didn't even know they knew the person. So that's crazy. Then I'm seeing funny actions and distractions all around. Call these things out. Why are you letting it sit? If you ever cared about a situation, now's the time to show it. Now's the time to speak up. Now's the time to use critical thinking as your means of progression. Do you want to progress, or do you want to stay stuck in a mentality that was delivered to you, that you accepted when you don't accept anything else and you want to do what you want anyway? Do what makes sense. Do what's credible. Do what's needed. You know how I rock. All rights reserved.